day I graduated college in 2005, I decided to start a rental company. It took a few years until it became successful enough to be my full-time job, but now it's all I do. My hope is to help you by sharing my knowledge. So yesterday I did a video which seemed to be helpful to some people. It was comparing a 20 by 20 with just the tent and the sides, and then doing the add-ons like coolers and fill and chill tables and this and that, and you could see how it added $200 to the order, and you didn't have to buy very expensive items, and it took very little work to do that because you're already doing the hard thing, which is the tent, and then you add a few things, and then you see that just adding those things gives you a lot more. So I decided to do another one today, but more on a larger scale. When I was first buying my dance floor, I saw it was very expensive, so I found a guy who was a few hours away from me selling some because he was switching his style, and he was selling them for $100 for a 4x4 section when they're like $400 to $500 brand new. So I went out to buy them. I started talking to him, and he was telling me about getting into dishes and stuff and how I should, and catering things. And he asked me what I did the past weekend, and I said a 40 by 60. And he goes, let me guess, you made about $3,000 on it. And he was right, I did. And then he goes, let me show you the 40 by 60 that we just recently did. So he had the 40 by 60, he had all the tables and chairs, he had everything. But he had a catering tent, catering equipment, all the dinnerware and stuff too. And then he showed me the difference in price. Same size tent, but now he's handling the catering stuff too. Granted, it was like a huge catering tent. It was a 30 by 60 instead of a 20 by 20, which caterers normally need. This was for some event where the caterer needed a really big kitchen. But anyways, it still displayed to me that having this catering equipment and dishes and stuff really increases the total bill, and it's not much more work. It doesn't take that long to get catering stuff off your truck. Most of it's on wheels, like the oven and grill and fridge and things, and then the actual glassware and stuff, it's easy to transport them across the yard. So I'm going to show you a 40 by 80, just a basic wedding, and then the same 40 by 80 with all the catering stuff. Okay, so these are my invoices. I have them folded just so that I don't have to pan back and forth, so you can see the item and the price. So mine goes in alphabetical order, so we'll go down to the pole tent first. We have a 40 by 80 for $12.50. And then 125 person wedding, 125 white padded chairs, $312.50. 16 by 16 dance floor, $400. Some perimeter lighting and Italian bistro lighting, $120 and $400. The tables, 16 5-foot rounds for the guests, $128. A bar, $50. And then some tables for the caterers or the buffet or the DJ or whatever, $32. And then the sides to cover the entire tent and have a few openings, $300. So we got subtotal, tax, delivery charge. Total is $3,286.97. Now the same thing over here, but with all the catering stuff added. We still got the 40 by 80 for $12.50, but now we got a catering tent for $185. Then we've got the sidewalls for the 40 by 80, and then the sidewalls for the 20 by 20 catering tent for another $100. Then we go up to the lighting, which is right here. We still got the lighting for the 40 by 80, $120, and the bistro lighting. And then we got the perimeter lighting for the catering tent at $40. And we've got the dance floor and the chairs and all that. So then adding the catering equipment, like the oven, $175, propane grill, $150, refrigerator, $90, electric hot box, $100. So that adds quite a lot just right there. And all this stuff is on wheels and easy to take off the truck and get to where it needs to go. Then all the dinnerware, we got 250 bread and butter appetizer because it's used for appetizer and dessert generally. So that's doubled. And then everything else, like the dinner plate for 125 people, the salad plate for 125 people. And then we don't need 125 coffee cups. We just have a coffee station for 75 coffee cups at the dance floor. And then we've got the, the flatware. Same thing, 125 for the dinner fork, 125 for the knife. Double the salad fork for appetizer and dessert. And then you don't need 125 spoons. You just need, 80, 85 or whatever because it's a coffee station, not at each table. And then the glassware. You don't need one glass for every person except for the champagne and the water, because those are usually at the table. It's 100 wine, the large wine, 100 small wine, rocks glass for mixing drinks, and a beer glass. And that adds quite a bit as well. And then we got the propane tanks for the oven and grill. I always give them 2 propane tanks, one for the oven, one for the grill. And I give them one as backup because I don't want to drive back out if something's wrong with one of the propane tanks. Lighting, tent. So this total is $5,401.72. That's just about $2,000 more than just having a tent with no catering equipment. And it's not much more work. So as you can see, having the ovens and grills and fridges and all the dinnerware, flatware, glassware, and having that catering tent adds a lot. You're already there doing the hard part. The 40 by 80 is taking you a few hours, and then normally you would just leave, but if you spend about another hour, you're making another $2,000. So eventually, once you take the step from doing graduation parties and things, then you move into weddings. You can master the wedding and then build relationships with caterers, and then start getting into the catering equipment, and then start getting all that stuff out. And then on top of this, you have linens you could do fancier tables and chairs. You can take something that you're doing in your first few years, a 40 by 80 wedding for around $3,000, and that same 40 by 80 wedding a few years later can be over $10,000 because you got the catering equipment, you got the linens, you got the dishware, you got fancy chairs, fancy tables, fancier lighting. And it doesn't require that much more work. It does require, investment, but you just buy these things as you go. Like, I didn't even start with the dishes and stuff first. I started with a grill and an oven because caterers were calling me for it all the time. They were getting dishes from another company that they were using, but those other companies kept running out of ovens and grills. So I just got the ovens and grills and then started working with these caterers. And then once I got the dishes, then they just started getting everything from me. So like I said, you can take a 40 by 80 wedding that you're doing in the beginning for just about $3,000. And then 5 years later, once you have all this stuff, you can take that same wedding and now you're making $10,000 on it for maybe an hour or 2 more worth of work. Excluding washing the dishes, that takes a long time. But the actual delivery and setup of that stuff only adds a little bit of time and you're making a whole lot more money. Thanks for watching.